So my name is MacKew. I'm from Ontario, Canada, and I did my MBA at the University of British Columbia. I was working for a international life insurance company called Manulife, and I had done a master's out of my undergrad in international public policy, and through that network, I came to work in government relations with Manulife, and I was working with the Manulife team for about 6 years. And in that space, I was making connections with governments, with regulators, and representing the interests of Manulife and the life insurance industry in Canada. As much as I enjoyed working with Manulife and all the people there were great, I found that it wasn't really my passion. It wasn't as much as it was really interesting and everything changed from day to day. It wasn't really what was getting me up in the morning and exciting me. And so I was blessed with a really strong manager there, and he moved me into Fintech because he knew that that was something that was interesting me, and it was something that Manulife was interested in as well. And so the more I got involved with Fintech, the more I realized, hey, this is something that I could see myself doing. This is the type of stuff that excites me and makes me want to get out of bed every morning. And then the other thing that came up was I knew that I wanted to go back to school. And when I thought back to the managers that I'd had in the past, one thing that connected them all, the best managers that I had that connected them all, was that they had an MBA. And so I reached out to some of them, and I started to talk to them about what their MBA experience was and why they had taken an MBA. And I found that it was very much the same story as myself, that they had found that they were passionate about a certain industry or knew that they wanted to do something different, and that the MBA offered that opportunity to them. So I chose my MBA at UBC. And I chose it over a number of schools that were in Ontario. And the reason for that was I found that the schools in Ontario, locally for me, they were very much geared at getting people into roles that were in consulting or roles that were in the financial services industry and working for financial institutions. And I thought that was something I might be interested in. But where my passion lied was with entrepreneurship and working with technology companies and software companies. And what I found was that the Ontario universities I had taken a look at, they spoke a lot about what they were doing there. But when I spoke to some of the alumni and when I took a look at what the actual courses were, I found that they weren't as strong as I thought they were. And what I found with UBC was that they really did put a lot of emphasis on technology and entrepreneurship in addition to consulting and financial services. And I thought that the more I dug into the types of courses that there were, the professors that they had there, and the industry connections that UBC had established, the more I realized that this was a perfect fit for me. Yeah, so I found that the UBC MBA was helpful for making a career switch into technology and software because of the focus that they put on the courses and the professors, and just like I said before, the industry connections that they had. It made it really, it wasn't easy to make a career switch, but it really did help facilitate it. Our professors were making connections for us. The more we spoke to our professors, we could say that we were interested in a certain field or a certain company, and Vancouver being a big, small city, they had the connections to line you up, and you could speak with people who were working for them. We have a very large alumni network that's working in that space as well. So I was having coffee chats every single week with different people, learning what they liked about their job, what they didn't like about their job, if they thought that what courses they were taking in the MBA, if they thought they were helpful or not. And I found that the courses that I did take in the MBA were really helpful with making the career switch. I didn't have a background at all in things like business development or in accounting or finance. And I found that the courses there brought me up to speed to a point where I'm still using the frameworks and the tools that I learned in those courses. And I think that was something that was super helpful. There's one course, there's a handful of courses in particular that I can think of, but one that stands out is tech entrepreneurship. And so this is a course where you and your fellow MBAs will be paired with master's and doctoral students in the hard sciences and engineering. and you basically come together with them. You've got a couple of meet and greets, and then you pitch a business idea and you just start running with it. And so we had, on my team, we had a couple of MBAs, and then we had someone who was doing their PhD in bioinformatics. We had somebody who was doing a master's in fluid dynamics, and we had someone who was doing a master's in biochemistry. And so we had 6 of us together, and we created a small fake business, started to pitch the ideas, and our business ultimately, it didn't pan out the way I think that we'd wanted it to, but that's the intention of the course, is you can fail fast and learn from it. But I did have a number of colleagues in my MBA who actually ran with their tech entrepreneurship business idea, and they're still running it. There's been a handful of success stories that have come out of just that course. And in addition, there's other courses too, like entrepreneurial finance, where you learn really quickly how, like, what's the most important thing that you need to have as a small, or as a small startup, and how do you actually grow that? You learn, there's courses like growing and exiting a venture that will teach you, what's the makeup of your board? What should it look like? When you're thinking about who to hire for certain roles, what should they be? When you're thinking about the pipeline for your business, what should it look like? And how do you scale a company that's maybe, 2 people, a garage, and a dream? How do you scale that into a business that can sustain tens of thousands of employees and make millions of dollars? And so it's those courses that, it's not just what you learn in the courses, but it's also the fact that the professors have been through it themselves, which I found to be the most interesting aspect of it. Like our professors have been people who had grown and exited companies, who had come in at certain stages and helped grow them, had learned the hard way what works and what doesn't work. And so you're getting that real life experience in the technology and software space that I find entirely valuable, and that I use every day in my job currently. I find that the MBA was helpful for me as I career switched into my new role, and that's I'm currently working as director of business development at TTT Studios. So we are a growth stage company that builds custom software for enterprise. So we do B2B custom software, and I think, thinking back to even like my first day, you think to yourself that companies like this have got to have figured out their sales process. They've got to have figured out their accounting process or how they finance things. And you think that that's just the way that it works. And then you come into a company like this and you realize that that's your role, right? Like that's your opportunity to build out what a sales cycle looks like, or a customer's journey. It's your job to think about how does the money come in, and how do you build things like cash flow? How do you build out things like a sales forecast? And it's really powerful, I think, to have that much opportunity. And like I said before, the MBA at UBC really provides you with the tools that you need to start just creating your own processes, because what you've done is you've learned what works best, and you've from the theory, and then from your professors you learn not only what works best but what works in real life, and now you get to apply that. That was a dream come true for me in working in this role. And when I came in originally as a manager of business development, and then over the course of the year I brought marketing under my umbrella as well. So now I'm responsible for the sales and marketing for a company, and my manager is a former UBC MBA grad as well. So it's a tight knit community within UBC, and we definitely punch above our weight in terms of the strength of our alumni. There's no doubt in my mind that if you go to anyone on LinkedIn who's got a UBC MBA grad next to their name, that you can have a quick chat with them, and they'll easily take you in, give you some advice, and want to talk to you, no matter where they are throughout Canada and throughout the world. What surprised me most about doing the MBA, I think, was the need for time management. I thought I'd done a master's previously, and I thought I knew what strong time management looked like. And then I went into this MBA, and I just learned that it's a whole other level of being able to juggle so many things at once. And it's a pressure cooker, and it's a pressure cooker on purpose. It's not designed for you to fail. It's designed for you to learn how to succeed. And I think that, again, you can hear that from alumni, you can hear that from the recruiter, and then you actually get into the program, and it's completely, it doesn't catch you off guard, but it definitely It makes you think about all the things that you've taken for granted. And I think the end result of it is that it really does rewire your brain a bit to become better at things like time management, stress, prioritization, things like that. I recall the reason when I was speaking to my previous managers about why they did an MBA, and my takeaway from it, from what I saw in them, was that they never cracked under the pressure. It didn't matter what was happening in my personal world. I thought, the sky was falling because of this, that, or the other, and they would just go, do this, and this, and it should be fine. And now, having gone through the MBA and working with my own team, I have a similar sense. It's not quite a state of Zen, but it's one where you kind of you learn from real world experience to be able to say, okay, the sky's not falling if we do this, this, and this. There's always something that we can do to do this, and reshape something. And I think that's it came as a result of, like I said, that pressure cooker that you're under in the MBA. So my advice to prospective MBAs and people who are looking at going into an MBA is to really think about what you want to get out of it. Whether it be a change in career, whether it be a change of scenery, a change of salary, but also go into it with an open mind. As much as you want to focus on where you, like the type of role that you want to get into and things like that, it will be probably 12 to 24 months of opportunities that will be thrown at you. And so leave yourself open to think about through this MBA, does it set me up to succeed in this industry or that industry? And go into it with an open mind. Like, you may go into it thinking that you really want to go into investment banking. You go into it for a little while, you meet some people who were in the mining industry, and all of a sudden that sounds really cool, right? So I think that finding an MBA, finding an MBA that suits not only what your talents are now and what your interests are now, but finding one that you think will fit where you want to be in the future as well.